retreat. Hopefully we don't end up divorced afterwards. We're on a couples retreat with our church, and right now we're at the TUBBBEE Pier just hanging out with family and doing some stuff before we head back to the hotel. Hope you guys can hear me with the waves. It's literally so beautiful here. I'd like to live here. Like, I love California. I love California so much. Okay, bye guys. Alright, we got water, not even Fiji water. LGTV. It comes with a man in the room. And this is where the magic happens. From the little video montage I put together, we just got back from a couples retreat in Newport, California, and it was really fun. I just want to talk about our experience a little bit and keep it short, but share something personal, but I hope that it can help other couples or someone else who, you know, might be going through the same thing. We went with our church and a lot of members of our church. It was obviously all couples, and it was our first time going to anything like this for both me and my boyfriend. And we decided to go because, you know, there's always something you can learn, there's always something you can improve on, and we take our relationship very serious. So we decided to just go and see what we could get out from it. And if you guys watched the beginning of the video, that short clip that I put, that was a day before we came back home. So I decided to put that clip at the beginning of the video because we were actually just joking around, but we obviously didn't end up getting divorced. We're not married yet, but we did end up getting into a pretty big fight during the couples retreat, and we were like very upset with each other. We had like this big misunderstanding, and we weren't talking, and we were on the retreat, and we were supposed to like go to these events, and it was pretty bad because that's kind of like obviously the last thing you want to happen on a retreat for couples. The last thing you want is to argue about anything, or just in general. It's probably never good, but it ended up happening. Our minds were just kind of blocked, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes you get in this spot where you're just like, like, leave me alone, I don't want to see you, give me space. But there's other times where you really have to push through that and just get it over with and get to that other side. And I usually don't share anything personal about our relationship, like on any social media or anything like that. Most of the time it's just between, well, all the time it's just between him and I feel very strongly that that's how couples should really deal with their things. There's no need to get a lot of people involved. You know, it's different asking for advice and then putting your stuff out there. So I wasn't gonna do this, but I thought it was really important to share a little bit of our story because first of all, nobody's perfect. No one's relationship is perfect. And I learned so much on these 3 days that we were out there in Newport with different pastors that came to go ahead and share with us their experience, things that happened in their marriages or their relationships. Honestly, I didn't feel like making up. Like sometimes there's times where you might get in an argument with your significant other or something and you're like, no, we should work it out right away. I didn't feel like that. He didn't feel like that. It just kind of made things worse. And ultimately, thankfully, we were probably in the best place possible, surrounded by really great, strong, and caring couples that they ended up kind of helping us sort through our misunderstanding. It was really insignificant. Sometimes something so small, it kind of gets this domino effect and it just becomes bigger and bigger. It kind of was like that. It wasn't anything serious, but we kind of made it serious. And we ended up making up, and all I kept thinking was like, wow, we saved for months to come on this retreat and now we're fighting. Like, out of all the times right now, like, how could this be? And just all the things that maybe you fill your headspace with that you shouldn't. I think now that it was the best place that we could have had a fight, because if we hadn't had that small argument or misunderstanding at the retreat, like of all places, we wouldn't have put into practice so much valuable information that we were learning while on the retreat. And I'll be the first to say, I hate arguing, I hate misunderstandings. I'm pro communication, I'm pro talking feelings, all that stuff. Not everybody's like that. I didn't want to get too deep into like what happened, what we did, whatever. I just wanted to share the fact that we went on our first couples retreat. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun, but we learned so much, and some of the things that were really significant that I wanted to share with you guys, whether you're in a relationship or not, you can apply this to anything, was to just be intentional with anything that you do. I thought I was an intentional person until I went to this retreat, and I was like I'm lacking so much in my intentionality with things that I do. Are you intentional with how you treat your significant other, or you just do it to do it? Are you doing it because you think you're supposed to do it, or because you want to look good in front of others? Are you doing it because you're intentionally like caring about their happiness, about their needs, about etc.? So that was something that I definitely got. And compromise. That's a big one that we always hear. You know, we hear a lot in society, you're supposed to meet halfway, but I've learned that you don't meet halfway. You meet like, sometimes it is 50-50, sometimes it's 70-30, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes you're the 100% and the other person's 0. So compromise, and again, but intentional compromise, like it comes from you. And lastly, something I learned was that if you really made this choice to be with somebody for the rest of your life, married, not married, you know that that's the person you want to be with and you're serious about them, then arguments and misunderstandings, they happen. However, that doesn't mean that we have to stay there for 2-3 days, 5 hours. Like, if they're gonna be upset, you're gonna be upset, and you both can be mature and meet in the middle as far as talking about it and working it out. Then why not just do it? It's so hard, trust me. I have one of those attitudes. It's hard to go and say I was wrong, or I'm sorry, or be the first one, or just let down your guard and work it out. But if you do that, it's just so much better. It's kind of like you can breathe again and everything's fine. So those are things that I learned. I literally wrote pages and pages of great information. If you guys have the opportunity to go to a retreat, it doesn't have to be with your church, but just like a personal growth, spiritual type of retreat, I would definitely go. I think the best ones are when you go with your spouse, because maybe you go on your own and you come back and you're like, hey, I learned all this stuff, let's do it. But they don't know what the experience is like. So now that we've both gone, we're both like, hey, we learned this, like, remember, or like we said we were gonna do this. So it's not just one person, it's both of you guys. Now looking back, and we saw that clip where we said like, oh, it's our first couples retreat, hopefully we don't end up divorced, whatever. Because there's this movie where all the couples go on a retreat and they end up like worse than what they were, because it actually pushes them to talk about things that they never talk about, or do things that they stopped doing a long time ago. So it makes sense, like, how that could happen. how it can bring up things that maybe you've put under the rug or whatever. So yeah, overall it was a great experience though. We ended up being in Newport for 3 days, and the last day we went to Catalina Island from Long Beach. You guys saw those clips. It was a lot of fun. It's my first time there. Everybody there has a go-kart or a golf cart, not a go-kart. And it was super fun. Now I'm back home. School started, so my schedule is a little bit, you know, kind of crazy. Wanted to share a little bit of our experience. A lot of people admire Luis, my boyfriend, and I, and they look to our relationship as an example, and we're very grateful for that. But as I learned from my pastors and from the other pastors that came, you know, it's not always sunny and roses, and it's not, and I know that, like, we know that, but a lot of people look at your relationship from the outside and think that it's always good, you always have it together, and it's not that. It's that every day you literally wake up and you choose that person. They really stress that a lot on the retreat. It's a choice every day. You choose to love somebody. You don't always feel the same amount of love, that high for someone, but every day you make that choice and you love them, and you're gonna be there with them, good, bad, and work it out. And I'm sure you guys have heard this, but there's a saying that says, you know, if I'm gonna fight, I'd rather fight with you. I don't want to fight with anybody else. If I'm gonna be happy, if I'm gonna share things, I want to do it with you, and that's very much so how I feel in my relationship. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this short video. I am trying to get better at travel vlogs. I'm just not, I mean, of course, I'm not used to it, like walking around with my big camera and like talking and stuff. So I'm getting better, so I hope you guys enjoyed the little montage that I put together of our trip. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, guys, and follow me on Instagram. And I really appreciate you guys sticking through with my channel. And yeah, we're gonna keep growing. Peace out, guys. I'll see you guys next time. I think I'm done. Oh, lastly, this week is my boyfriend's 4-year anniversary, and I'm super excited. I'm super blessed, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for us. So if you're seeing this, babe, I love you with all my heart, thick and thin, good and bad, sunny, rainy. You're the person that I want to be with, and I choose you every day.